Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
Welcome to Caribbean Perspective. So glad you can join us. The story that dominates in today's edition for Friday, 9th May 2025, and brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Jamaica's Republican status delayed as government and opposition can't see eye to eye on making the CCJ its final appellate court. Details after this important message.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils big and small, reassurance we give, it's so clear to see, peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family, yes we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. Government and opposition in Jamaica trade blame over Republic reform delay. Courtney Lewis of CVM News reports.
The opposition has come under fire again for appearing double-minded as the government pushes for Republic status. The Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahoo Ford, issued a sharp rebuke, adding the critics can't be trusted.
That you can't trust people who tell you that they want to do something, and then they change their mind when the work gets hard.
In her presentation, she pulled on previous statements from the opposition's Mark Golding, who supported a move to Republic on the basis that the reform would start with ideas agreed upon by both parties.
The important process of repatriating our sovereignty, which began in 1962, has stalled, and there is important unfinished business. The time has come for Jamaica to become a republic within the Commonwealth, with a Jamaican head of state, and for us to swear allegiance to the Constitution and people of Jamaica. Let us proceed with the legal steps required to achieve this, since there is consensus that this is where we need to go.
But since January, the opposition has boycotted the constitutional reform process over concerns on the country's final appellate court and presidential power.
Them say we want we way, we say we no want in a way. It just can't work like that. What is required to go forward is a different exercise of leadership. And I don't believe it's going to come from over there. I don't believe it's going to come from people who saying one thing when it suits them and move away to something else when it suits them.
Malahoo Ford's message comes after Prime Minister Andrew Holness claimed the dreams of a Jamaican republic were dashed at the feet of the PNP. But just Sunday, May 4, Senator Donna Scott Motley again refuted those claims at a party meeting in St. Catherine.
The truth which can never be contested is that they had no intention of becoming a republic. When the Constitutional Reform Committee was established in 2023 and had its first meeting on March 22nd, the intention was to present a bill to the Parliament within 2 months. That meant they would not be discussing anything with you, the people. That meant they had already decided what kind of country, what kind of nation we would be.
Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
In the meantime, the opposition of Jamaica slams the government on alleged corruption. Courtney Lewis again of CVM News has more.
It isn't the first time the government has been accused of corruption, but this time the opposition is putting the heat on the healthcare system. The controversial medical drill at the Bustamante Children's Hospital has again sparked bold proclamations about procurement practices.
Minister, if you release the full procurement documents to the public so they can see that drill, if it really costs $31 million, then I will take off my political hat. I will take off my political shirt. I will dress up in sackcloth and ashes, and go in the middle of halfway tree square and apologize. But if you cannot do it because you know that it does not cost anywhere $31 million, then keep hiding it.
The party leader backed Dr. Dawes, noting decent health care remains out of reach.
The long waiting times without a bed, the uncomfortable conditions, the cost of all the diagnostic tests which are being outsourced to the private sector because the basic equipment is not being properly maintained in the public health system. Basic things, elevators, air conditioning units, CAT scan machines, etc., are neither not working or are not available to the people.
The conversation on the supposed trickery of Jamaicans by the government continued, with Senator Donna Scott Motley rebuking the Portmore Parish decision.
When they moved to make Portmore a parish, the Jamaica Labour Party was breaching the Constitution. And one thing that this Prime Minister has done well, no one can say he's not good at it, is breaching the Constitution. Every time he raises his hands, it is to oppress and repress the people of this country.
Now, MP Fitz Jackson has assured that the party will take strong action against the Portmore push should the PNP return to power.
He can rest assured that when the next election is called, whenever it is called, the boundaries of Southeast St. Catherine will remain untouched from what it is now today. I can also say that after the next election, that act that they passed in Parliament will be repealed by the next government of the People's National Party.
They were addressing supporters at a campaign rally in East Central St. Catherine on Sunday. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick, in association with our friends at
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says his country is prepared to play any part it can to broker talks between the United States and the People's Republic of China. Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the United States, Sir Ronald Sanders, says Prime Minister Brown made the comments during a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. The U.S. and China are the world's two largest economies, but they have been at loggerheads, especially over trade. Washington has imposed tariffs of 145% on most Chinese imports, while Beijing has reacted with tariffs of 125% on most U.S. goods. Sir Ronald, who accompanied Prime Minister Brown to the meeting with Secretary Rubio, summarized Prime Minister Brown's comments on the issue of U.S.-China relations.
In the ideal world, we would like to see the United States and China begin to talk with one another in a way that would resolve their own differences. And to the extent that Antigua and Barbuda, small though we are, might be able to contribute to brokering that arrangement, we would be happy to.
Prime Minister Gaston Brown has mounted another staunch defense of the benefits of the Cuban Medical Brigade to Antigua and Barbuda. He made the comments as he joined 6 other leaders from the OECS and the Bahamas in crucial talks with United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday afternoon. An update was provided to ABS News by Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the United States, Sir Ronald Sanders, who accompanied Prime Minister Brown to the talks.
And he made the point that we are not involved in trafficking in persons. We pay the Cuban doctors and nurses well. We treat them well. We place no restrictions on them. They are not trafficked as far as we're concerned. And the relationship that we have in paying the Cuban government is no different from that which we would have done had we entered into an arrangement for the provision of medical services from Ghana or Philippines, who also export medical personnel. and that there is nothing sinister in it.
The United States Secretary of State Marco Rubio has committed to ramping up efforts to tackle the flow of illegal firearms entering the Caribbean from the United States. He made the comment during talks with Prime Minister Gaston Brown and 6 other regional leaders in Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. These weapons are blamed for the high level of gun crimes in the Caribbean. Antigua and Barbuda's ambassador to the United States, Ronald Sanders, tells ABS News this was a crucial commitment by the United States top diplomat.
He said he realizes that a lot of the guns that are entering the Caribbean and that are being used by criminals and gangs come from the United States. And he and the United States State Department and the United States government are going to make every possible effort to ensure that flow of guns comes to an end. So that was a very strong commitment when you consider the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution allows people here to bear guns and to buy guns and to do it without restriction.
Moving further south, Guyana's border with Venezuela remains calm and secure, says Commander Ramana.
Senior Superintendent Krishnadat Ramana, Commander of Regional Division 1, Burima Waini. The closest region to the Venezuela border, said police, supported by more than 400 members of the community policing groups CPG, are actively monitoring the area. Speaking on Radio Evelary on Tuesday, Commander Ramana emphasized that while police cannot be everywhere at the same time, CPGs have been instrumental in identifying unusual activities and maintaining calm.
We know when things are happening, when things are not. But persons I can see compared to last year, they are more relaxed because they feel confident that the government is protecting them.
He added that although residents are aware of the territorial controversy, they remain calm and optimistic, trusting the government to protect their welfare.
At the same time, the police and the joint services, that is our sister services, the Guyana Defense Force and the fire services, they have been with us. We have been doing a lot of joint patrols in the river and on land around the border area. And I can tell you the border area, it's very safe at this moment.
On May 2, 2025, just one day after the International Court of Justice ordered Venezuela to suspend its plans for elections in Guyana's Essequibo region, Venezuela rejected the ruling. The Venezuelan government stated it does not recognize ICJ's jurisdiction and will not comply with any of its decisions. In a strongly worded statement, Venezuela accused the ICJ process of being manipulated by anti-Venezuelan corporate interest. It reiterated that the Geneva Agreement remains the only valid mechanism for resolving the border controversy and called on Guyana to return to direct negotiations. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Night Trinidad.
In Trinidad, the new opposition leader Penelope Beckles-Robinson says she still has some time to consider her picks for senators. Mrs. Beckles-Robinson, speaking to journalists after receiving her instrument of appointment at President's House on Tuesday, hinted that there will be a mix of new and familiar faces. More in this TTT News item.
So opposition leader Penelope Beckles-Robinson says she still has some time to consider her picks for senators. Mrs. Beckles-Robinson, speaking to journalists after receiving her instrument of appointment at President's House on Tuesday, hinted that there will be a mix of new and familiar faces.
When the parliament is open, so I still have some time, and I haven't yet. I will, of course, there are only 6 picks. So, and definitely I'll be having one from Tobago. Of course, one will balance experience. You want to bring in some new faces. So I have not yet made a decision as it relates to the new Senate.
The upper house consists of 31 senators, 16 on the advice of the Prime Minister, 6 on the advice of the opposition leader, and 9 independent members on the discretion of the President. The government has so far appointed 11 senators. And rebuilding the People's National Movement following its defeat at the April 28th polls is a top priority for leader of the opposition, Penelope Beckles-Robinson.
I think we have to do a postmortem. I think that I am looking very closely to going to visit all the constituencies to get an idea, because it's not just, people think of marginal seats. When you do the assessment, it's always safe, what is marginal, what is opposition, what is government. But the truth is, at the end of the day, it is every citizen that you have to think about. I mean, that might sound, that it's too much, but in truth and in fact, that is exactly what it is.
Mrs. Beckles-Robinson said the citizens have made their issues known.
Is still willing to engage as a politician. And stop you and say, listen, Ms. Beckles, we don't want you to just go there and obstruct, you have to, we're hoping you're all going to listen and, if you have to work with the government, work with the government. So I have gotten it live and direct.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.